I am so excited for yet another epic Rebel Radio conversation with my new friend Martine. Welcome to the show. I'm so grateful that you're here today.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here.
So, before we went live, I shared a little bit about your numerology with you, and I'm curious what was kind of your biggest takeaway from that?
I think it was the creative expression and always wanting to make things and create things. And I have been sort of judging myself for not fitting in with other people sort of settling a little bit, but me always wanting like a new project and what about this creative idea or this one? So yeah, that was like spot on.
I love it. I love it. The numbers never lie. That's what I always say. Yeah. So, tell us a little bit about who you are and who you are here to serve in the world.
Yeah, so I am a coach for other coaches, and I have what feels like a lifetime within marketing. So, being in the industry for a decade and also having a master's degree in digital marketing and everything, and also probably like 15 years of self-development by now, everything spirituality, psychology, like, and everything in between that. And so I found that in marketing, there was like this big hole in the information where we focus on the technology and the psychology in the sense that, like all the new ways to communicate marketing, like social media and all of those things. And also the psychology part where you try to analyze the consumer and all of that. But when we're marketing ourselves as solopreneurs and coaches, there's another dimension to it, and it's ourselves. And what I see the most is that people are actually not putting themselves out there. So what's holding them back is their own fear of, judgment and um, actually their own fear of feeling their own feelings because that's ultimately what you're left with, right? Like if somebody judged you, you feel shit. And that's what we're trying to avoid subconsciously. And so I'm helping female coaches, particularly women entrepreneurs within coaching, to break through those barriers and become not only confident within marketing, but also like loving it and seeing it as a tool of expression of why they're here and playing with it and having fun with it and not as having like a dread of like, oh, this is something I should do and I'll definitely just outsource it whenever I have the cash for it. Like, I want to help women and coaches really play with it and have fun with it in a way that also attracts more clients.
I love that so much. And I think it's really important, especially during these times of change and a new paradigm shift of understanding that we're selling ourselves. We're not selling our products and services, but also understanding that if we put ourselves out there, we need to fully believe in ourselves so that when
Totally.
we do get the judgment, it just rolls right off our back. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. So good. Thank you for doing that work in the world. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
So, what do you desire most out of your life and why?
I think it comes down to core values, like what's important for me. It might sound really dark and whatever, but I'm actually motivated by the five biggest regrets that most people have on their deathbeds.
Mm.
Because I'm like, I'm not going to be one of those. Like, I'm going to make sure that I live every moment in accordance with my integrity and values. And some of those values are freedom and expression and creativity. Um, and also, like, just follow my passion because I think that when we follow our own passion, it creates ripple effects because we're given the passions so that we are keen to get better and better at it. Like we just dive into it and we want more and more and more. And once we allow ourselves that, we also become a better person. Like a lot of the people or women that I coach, they say, I've become a better mother, I've become a better family member because I now fill my own cup with what I love. And so I feel like I'm here to like start the drop in someone's life so that their ripple slide goes out. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's like a fire starter.
I love that. I love that. I love being motivated by those 5 things too. I think, if you think about, when you are on your deathbed, what is it that is really going to make you feel like you regret something, and then do something about that
Yeah,
now so that you don't regret it.
exactly. And like, while it might sound really weird and whatever, it's like we're all going to end up there. So we might as
Mhm.
well take precautions.
Exactly. Exactly. So what does unity consciousness mean to you?
Well, I'm in the belief that everything is connected and we're all just energy and frequencies and vibration. And so unity consciousness for me is basically just a word describing how everything fits together, and how, the old principles. I don't know if you've heard about the Kabbalion. It's like really old texts.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, it's like, as within, so without, as above, so below. Like, and I really feel that. I mean, and also I feel like the more we're connected to conscious, or one conscious oneness, and all of that, the more love there is in the world. Because I don't think that if you're really connected to someone, I don't think that you could hurt them.
Mhm.
And I think like the separation is what is creating friction in the world as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Beautiful. So, as a business owner and an entrepreneur, what do you think is possible for us? How do you see our businesses shifting as we shift into this new paradigm of unity consciousness?
Yeah, so I think that what we're seeing now as a gradual change is that, um, in, so I'm just talking about particularly marketing now,
Yeah.
from what I see, is that before it was, marketing was established to push a product, and really force it onto people and buy this, and this is good because of that. But now, instead, we look at what people need, and then we accommodate for those needs, and also we create content. And content, if you do it right, it's actually service. And I hear a lot of people saying like, oh, I don't know how to market and all of that sort of stuff. But marketing now is actually just helping people for free. And I think like that is what we're moving into. Like, we talk about what we love because we love it and because it helps people. And
Mhm.
then as a natural result of that, it comes back to us through, maybe not through the specific person that you marketed to, but somewhere it's coming back to us. And I think that, that is manifesting more and more, just naturally.
Yeah, it's almost like we're creating this ecosystem of service and being of service to the world. And it just creates this circulation that just naturally occurs. I mean, it is universal law, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
love it.
totally.
So, what kind of rituals or habits do you have in place to help support you in maintaining unity consciousness?
Um, I've been into a lot of different modalities and practices. I mean, I've got third level Reiki master education from Japan when I lived there, and like crystal stuff. Like, I've tried a lot, but what I've found really helpful now, and there's seasons in life. So, but right now, it's very much connecting to my body, so my feelings, as they communicate to me. And every time there is a feeling that comes up, it's kind of like a constant. I'm always like checking in with myself. I do it a lot in the mornings as well, as a ritual, but throughout the day, like, I feel like it is my ritual and practice in from moment to moment. Um, and really finding out what thought fuels this thought. Like, why is this happening right now? Because it is of a mindset or a belief, or something. If there's a negative feeling, it's because something isn't quite right. And just finding out, and acknowledging that feeling in the body, to figure out how to resolve it. Another thing that has been huge for me is parts work, and that is basically, our personality is sort of fractured into sub personalities as we grow up, as we experience trauma or traumatic events. And obviously, I don't mean like extreme traumatic events necessarily, but if we experiences challenges that we weren't able to integrate as children, we kind of split into a protector part and a vulnerable part. And we have it in our language as well. On one hand, I would love to approach my business and I would love to put myself out there because I have ambition. But on the other hand, I'm scared shitless. I don't want to do that. And so we see that as there is internal conflict, and to really have internal mitigation between the parts and make it safe for the vulnerable part. It's like, okay, well, maybe we don't approach it like this. Maybe it feels safer to do it like that. Or if we change how we view it, maybe that feels more safe. So those two, like checking in with my body, checking in what thought or belief fuels the feeling, and also recognizing that we have sub personalities, and once they are both happy or agreeing, then we put all of the energy is going in the same direction. So it moves a lot faster, like you can manifest things a lot faster. So that's
Yeah.
probably been my biggest one. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. As someone who teaches emotional mastery, that makes my heart sing. I think it's so
Yeah.
important that we all check in with our emotions all the time, not just the morning routine, which is obviously a very powerful ritual, but to check in all day long. Like, how am I really feeling? What's really going on here? Because that helps dictate our actions and how we're moving
Yeah.
things out into the world. So good. Love that. So, another conversation that we love to have at Rebel Radio is the conversation around wealth. Now, wealth is something that every guest I've ever had defines differently. So, I'm curious to know how you define wealth.
Yeah. So I think that wealth is a state of mind. I mean, we have emotional wealth, we have financial wealth, we have time wealth. And I think that we can create the feeling of wealth even when we don't have anything, or if we don't have, our most desired um, financial wealth, for example. So an example of that could be, and which I practice regularly myself, is to clean out all of my closet, like to create the feelings that creates the feeling of abundance in myself, which is spaciousness, calm, and and it's kind of this vibration of just spaciousness and calmness and confidence in, like, I've got my back, I'm sorted. And so to create that, I think is the cornerstone to also move in the direction of um, manifesting it or creating it for ourselves. Because if we're always in this tight lack, our brain actually don't function as well. There is, MRI scans that shows that we shut down certain parts of our brain, like the
Mhm.
creative parts and that sort of stuff, when we're in this lack or constrained. So to have the feeling of abundance and practice that every day, and also obviously taking action, because that is a part of it as well, which I think in the spiritual community, we sometimes want to bypass that. Like, it's not as holy or sacred, as meditating or doing the more like mental work. But we are here in the third dimension and living. We are in, incarnated spirits, and we have this bodysuit, so we have to dance with it and create wealth through it. So yeah, that's sort of my feelings around wealth and
I love
creating
that.
wealth.
I love that. And I love that you bring up the action piece because that is so important. It's one thing for us to, meditate all day and kumbaya. But if we're not actually
Mhm.
going and doing something, then we're not creating in the physical world, which we were designed to do. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think the because I've also been there. Like, I had my period where I was thinking, like, well, if I just stay positive, if I just keep thinking the right things and focusing on the real things and visualizing and having mood boards and or visualization boards and all of that, then it'll just magically be delivered at my doorstep. And it's like it's it's actually escaping.
Mhm.
Like, it's kind of an escape. It's like, well, why don't we want to take action? Because our whole life is about being on the journey. So why don't we want to take the action and be on the journey to creating that? Why don't we find the beauty in trying and learning and that sort of stuff? Like, why don't we instead try to make it safe and fun and expansive and joyous?
Yeah, I love that so much. It's time to play. Time to play. I like
Yes, exactly. It's like
redefine taking action as just play.
exactly. Yeah. Bring the child in. Just like
Yeah,
coming back to the numerology. My number 3 is just exploding around that.
I love that, right? It's so good. So what is one truth that you wish every entrepreneur out there knew?
Value creates money.
Mm.
And to translate that is that value it comes from the olden days when you're like value pack, like get more value with this purchase. But what is value? Value is in this sense service. Being helpful to another person is value, and that's what we're selling as entrepreneurs or coaches or anyone in the service area. So when we give a lot of free value, meaning we're being very helpful for free, we will attract people. They will come to us. They will seek us out. And when they see how much we're offering for free, they'll be curious, like, how much can I actually gain from working with them one-on-one? Or like, I can't even imagine what they'll deliver in their paid stuff. Like, and people pay to get their problems solved, like to achieve their dreams. So giving value, being helpful translates into people wanting to pay you for being helpful and adding more value to their lives.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. All you have to do is just be helpful.
Exactly. Be a decent human being that wants the best for the people around you. And then, yeah, and offer to help. Like, this is what I'm offering. And also not being attached to that, because what I see a lot also is when people go, like, we start as coaches or as entrepreneurs because we love what we're doing. And we're really like, I want to dedicate my life to this. I want to devote myself to this. And then as they get started, they're like, oh, okay, well, I have to earn some money on this. And then they become all focused on that. Like it moves from an intrinsic motivation to an extrinsic motivation. And they get caught up in, oh, I need to sign another client, or why is clients not coming? And so instead, moving that focus back again, like always checking in with ourselves, like, I'm doing this because I love it, and I'm talking about it because I love it, and I'm sharing it because I love it. And I also have to offer people, like, you have to share your offer in order to earn money as well. And but not being attached to the sale, but rather saying that it's available.
Yeah, that attachment will get you every time. I know that one well.
Yeah. We've all been there.
When I first started my business, I was chasing the almighty dollar. That's all I cared about. And
Yep.
then after learning numerology and emotional mastery, I was like, oh, I see how this works. Just
Yep.
be a human being. That's it.
Exactly.
I love it. I
So
love
good.
it. So, excuse me, this cough. What is something you've discovered about yourself along your journey that has helped you to grow and be a better entrepreneur?
Discovered about myself. Um, um, that I have a tendency to get really hung up on things, and so I get all focused on that, and I forget the rest of my life. So much so that I work a lot, and then I forget about what's actually really important in my life, which is freedom, as I was talking about before. So I really discovered how important it is to have that freedom to go out and hang out with friends, to go on trips, and actually honoring that, because you come back so much more fueled. And we think that I have discovered about myself that I thought that hanging out with friends was unproductive and therefore not worthy of my time, which is ridiculous when I say it out loud, because life is made up by all the small moments, and it enriches us in all the different ways. Emotional wealth. You don't want financial wealth without emotional wealth as well. Like, what you're just going to sit there with some big numbers in your bank account, and that's it.
I can just picture Scrooge right now counting his towers of coins.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like rediscovering that I need to set boundaries for myself with, you know, not just focusing on one thing, but just like setting a firm boundary, like, okay, I've done this now, and then I also need to accommodate for my other human needs as well. And that has really helped me to achieve more as well, actually.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
that. You take care of all areas of your life, you actually get more done. Who would have known?
exactly. I know. So funny that.
So, with everything that's going on in the world, with COVID and all of the other things happening in the world, what's some advice that you would share with our audience about how to navigate what's happening in the world?
Yeah, I think coming back to like checking in with yourself, everything can happen externally, but there's only ever neutral circumstances, and it's always how we think about it that will make like translate into how you feel. And so I think now more than ever, it's important to uh, be an observer and like observe what's going on, but not also not being attached to it, and try to find joy wherever we can, like to find freedoms wherever we can, and focus on what makes us happy, because sometimes we tend to set more boundaries for ourselves than those that are placed on us by government or whatever. um, there's actually so much we can do, like go outside, hang out with a few friends, and also with business. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been talking about it's being hard to grow a business during COVID. um, but the matter of the fact is that, especially if you're an entrepreneur or a coach, people need it more than ever. Like some people, quite a lot of people have a lot less money to pay with, but there's also a lot of people that have money to work with you, and those who don't, they can get all the value through your free content. So you're still providing value for those who can't afford to work with you directly. And I think we have to just remember that by building our own wealth, we're also fueling the economy and helping the economy. So yeah, so I would definitely encourage people to keep going and growing their business and providing all of the free value as much as they can.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much. I want to thank you for being on the show. Time always flies very quickly on this show. But as always,
Yeah,
end the conversation with one last question. What do you dream of for the world?
more unity.
Yes, please.
Yeah, yeah, more people recognizing that we're all connected.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me. It was great fun talking to you.